Hey, hey everybody. This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. And let's get started today. We are on Volume 10, Chapter 4 of our series on the book, right here. This is How to Plan Your Greatness. You can pick this up on Amazon. If you actually desire a signed copy of that, hit me in the DMs, and we'll work out getting it out to you, payment, and all the other stuff. I'll make sure it gets signed and get that out to you. While you're on Amazon, you can go get the original, which is called Plan Your Greatness. This nice little read. This was the original. This right here, How to Plan Your Greatness. This was basically that same book, but there were some additions added to it, a better looking cover. I go in depth on some of the stories that I felt that I may have missed when I first came out with this one. This one really is a draft. If you get this one, you're going to find a lot of grammatical errors in it. But if you're just looking to grab the gist of my story, you'll see it in here. The other one, How to Plan Your Greatness, it's going to go into a little more details. It's a little sharper. There's still some grammatical stuff in it. I'm trying to update that as soon as possible. All right, now, while you're on there again, this is my third book that I have put out. This is Fair Exchange, Conversations with an Uber Driver. That kind of goes over when I had my transportation company and the conversations that I had with particular clients and some people on Uber. Great stories. There's a theory that I had. I won't go into it. I've done it in other videos. But there's a theory that I had as far as how people see their lives and the words as far as how they empower themselves to do the things and live the life that they want. That was just a theory I had, and I got to that theory by asking a line of questions. And so it was a really interesting journey where I interviewed almost 400 people. A lot more than that, but I documented about 370 something people along my journey. So it was really fun doing it. I didn't set out to do it, but it just kind of morphed into something, and that's what turned out. So that's what I'm doing. But again, we are talking about this book. We are on chapter number 4, and if you look real close, it says, "Why ask why? Your how depends on it." And so I'm gonna read some stuff from the book, but I'm gonna go over some things because this chapter is probably the smallest one in the book, but it's very powerful. And the first question that I ask, and I'm asking you, is how are you absorbing this content? If you've gotten the book, the question that I ask is, how did you get a hold of the book? So we're going to look at those two things real quickly. How are you absorbing this content? You have a phone? Are you looking at it on a computer? Are you on a laptop? How are you doing that? Okay, if you have the book, how did you get it? Did you order it from Amazon? Did you walk into a Walden's bookstore or Borders Books or whatever, or did you get it at a used bookstore? How did you get a hold of that book? Because I ask in the book, did you dig through a garbage can? No. So how did you get a hold of that book? More than likely, you downloaded it on your phone or however you're observing this content. You bought it, and how you're reading it, absorbing this content, you might be sitting at home. You could be listening to this as an audio as you are driving to work. What I'm getting at is, in most cases, you're in a good position. You're not homeless. You're not strung out on anything. You could very well be recovering from something. But the bottom line is, you're here. You're absorbing this content. So there's a level of that you're not in a dire situation. Again, I could be talking to somebody who got a hold of this information and they're trying to make a recovery. But for the most part, most people, when they've gotten this information, they're in a decent place. So I asked that question first and foremost. And the reason why I asked that question is, if you have the technology, a phone, a laptop, a computer, you didn't scrounge through a garbage can, you're in a relaxed state, you could be on vacation absorbing this information. So my question is, are you maximizing all your opportunities that you have every single day? And I ask this because I'm thinking from the position when I was locked up in prison and I had squandered those opportunities, my desire to look at life as far as time was running out, there was a level of urgency right there. So I'm asking, are you maximizing your day? Okay, think about that. Some say yes, some say no. Are you maximizing like every day? Some say yes, some say no. All right? But I believe the majority of us are not maximizing our days, are not maximizing our moments, and more importantly, here's one that might gonna sting a little bit. Do you even know why you're here? Think about that. Do you really know why you're here? And most of the time, if I were to just ask somebody that as a random question, the person would say, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't purpose, have I found my purpose? And the other one is, a lot of people will go, if they get in a defensive mode, they'll say, well, at least I'm not blank. At least I'm not black. At least I'm not white trash. At least I'm not on drugs. At least I'm not homeless. At least. They will justify where they are in comparison to somebody else. To me, that's one of the worst things you can do, because what you're doing is you're what they call punching down. You're saying, at least I'm not that. Instead of looking at and saying, well, what am I actually doing with all the opportunities that I have in front of me? As opposed to say, well, I ain't done shit, but at least I'm not that. All right? So, Dr. Dennis Kimbro, he wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. It was actually for the black community, and it was written based on the original book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He was approached after he had graduated college because he was going around the country interviewing black excellence to try to write a book on black excellence. Kind of the same thing Napoleon Hill was doing. But W. Clement Stone saw what he was doing and said, hey, put your book aside. I want you to finish this, because most people don't know Napoleon Hill was writing that very book for the black community to try to raise them up. So W. Clement Stone's got a hold of that transcript and say, Dr. Kimbro, I need you to finish this. And I'm bringing him up because he said something that has always stuck with me. He said, what gets measured gets done. So I took that to as an understanding of, how do I measure myself every single day to know that I am making progress? And so now I turn around and I ask you, how do you measure yourself? What sort of measurement tool do you have that lets you know that was a productive day, that was a good day? Setting a goal for that day and then going after it. What do you have in place that lets you know that you haven't just wasted the day, that you're maximizing your day? Okay? And the reason why I bring that up is because I have this quote here, and I said, if you don't know why you're here, meaning that you haven't asked yourself the three questions, which are the theme of this book. You haven't asked what you want. You haven't asked why you want it. You have not asked yourself, as far as creating an image in your mind, what you're going after, which is basically you're having a better idea of why you're here. And I say, if you've not asked yourself why you're here and ask yourself those three questions, everything else that you do is going to confuse you, because you have actually no idea, no purpose, no direction why you're here. So you're just kind of wake up as an accident, start doing things, and nothing is going to really sync itself together. It's all very confusing. So I'm saying that this chapter is talking specifically about why you're here. Know why you're here, so that you can then ask yourself, what do you want? why do you want it, and your imagination, because then that process goes into the next thing. It actually keeps you from falling back into what I call your baseline of thinking. When you don't know what you want, you don't know why you want it, you have no image of it, you don't know why you're here, every time you're faced with some sort of challenging situation, you're going to revert back to your most comfortable way of thinking, your baseline. And in most cases, that does not serve you very well. When you do that, when you are constantly knowing what you want, why you want, you know why you're here, you have an imagination, you have this image, you set deadlines, you're now moving toward your best version of yourself. You have to. If you know what you're going after, every day you're going to be inching toward your best version of yourself. Now, later on, I'm going to be talking about a video because I have a birthday coming up in November, and I plan to do a video on the what am I trying to say? I'm going to post a video that's going to show the journey from actually what I was trying to do. I'm trying to get myself in better shape, and I've been doing a good job, but I'm not going to start talking about it now, but I am going to do a video summing up that journey, and that journey talks about me really trying to be the best version of myself. Because what I've learned is once you ask yourself what you want, why you want it, you've now have this image in your mind of what that is. The natural question is, if you have a goal within those three questions, you then are going to ask yourself, well, then how do I get there? And how creates the process. All right? And so what I know is, if you don't know, or if you don't ask yourself those three questions, what do you want? Why do you want it? You've created this image in your mind as far as this picture of what it looks like. You've set a deadline. Then you're going to say, well, then how do I get there? If you don't ask yourself those three questions, you are never going to get to the point of asking yourself how, which is the process. That is what gets you there. Because one is the definition of what it is that you want. Why is the emotional fuel, the engine. The asking yourself, can I see it? Is that putting it up in your mind before it appears in the physical world, where you see it, you feel it, you taste it. Now you go, okay, I have this image. How do I get there? Now how starts to bring in the process. It's going to start bringing in the things that you need, the people that are going to help you get to where you're getting. But again, if you never ask yourself those three questions, you are never going to ask yourself how. And when you reach that point, you're going to get right to the point that I always bring about every time at the very end of my my videos, and that is, you are then now learning how, planning how, really processing how to plan your greatness. All right? I'm going to leave you with what I leave you with every time that I'm on here, and that is, plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see you all next time.